you talked about once the dispensaries kind of got up and running, you had some cash flow and you started looking at opportunities. What was it about infinite banking that first caught your attention? Do you remember?
The infinite banking, it was just like, okay, well, at first, we weren't just like, okay, here's some, let's just say if you have $10,000, right? And you're like, okay, well, am I just going to reinvest this into a building, an asset, whatever it may be? We probably just didn't have what we were going to reinvest it into set aside right away, right? So the infinite banking concept was, hey, we're going to be able to either, it's like a bank, but before it can become a bank, we have to kind of get it functioning. And in order to get it functioning, it's going to take some time. And so in that meantime, you might as well just start taking that extra cash flow and putting it into this system. And as we build this system up, we're going to be able to then take those loans out, whether it be for equipment or some other needs for your dispensary, right? And I think initially when I had first gotten started in the concept, we needed like some kind of equipment. Maybe it was like 50 grand or something like that was like the total cost. And we probably had about 50 grand laying around in the bank, and instead of originally just saying, okay, let's just spend it on the equipment, we said, okay, well, let's start up the life insurance policy. We'll start putting that 50,000 into the policy over the next corresponding months. I think for me, it was 5,000 a month or something like that. So it was like over the next 6 months or 8 months, we're going to be pretty much putting that whole amount into the policy. And then we can buy the piece of equipment that you're thinking about buying, which was the same. But now we're going to have the banking concept going, and I think for a lot of people, that was a hard thing. So that was the most attractive thing, that there wasn't anything specific that I was looking to get. It was this, that we could take that money and start putting it into this system and then utilizing the money out of it going forward.
See, I got a kind of a follow-up question, but a lot of times when people are getting introduced to infinite banking, one of the things that they stumble on or kind of is a negative that I would say is the slow start to a policy. Being kind of an entrepreneur and, having started several businesses, what's your point of view? What's your take on that? Because I'll share kind of the feedback that I typically get from entrepreneurs once you give our answer, but I'd love to hear it kind of firsthand, right? As I feel like entrepreneurs look at that slow start a little bit differently.
Now, there's two aspects to that slow start, correct? Like, in my opinion, at least, one would be like, let's just say if you had a regular job or whatever, you can probably only have so much income coming in. But me being an entrepreneur, like you were saying, or anything like that, the slow start, I mean, it just typically depends, right? Like, I think me and Anthony were able to maybe accelerate the timeline due to the dumping in of cash, right? So, like, for example, if your business already had something that was necessary to purchase, like we were going to purchase I'll just make it simple, a delivery vehicle. Delivery vehicle is going to cost 45 grand. We could go get it financed, right, through the thing. Typically, maybe we have some money sitting around in our bank account. And so we just accelerated that process by dumping in extra cash early, quickly, and with that extra cash, we were able to utilize the policy faster for that first initial purchase of whatever equipment we needed. And then we can pay the loan back, but it is typically, there is a little bit of a slower start. I felt like mine was not as slow, maybe because I already had things that I was buying. I just instantly started looking at the policy and saying, hey, I'm already buying things. My business is buying things every day. It needs something, instead of just buying it in cash. Let's just take that cash and reroute it through the life insurance policy and buy it, and there is, I know you guys know this better than I do, is like the MEC line and all that stuff. But typically, if you can get the policy in pretty high, you can put a good amount of cash in there and start pulling it out pretty much, in the first like 3 to 6 months. And that's not a terrible start, like in my opinion. So I think there's a lot of people that, maybe we're only going to be able to put in like $1,000 or $2,000 a month or something. Well, then that's not going to, be usable quickly. But if you're going to start dumping in 5 or 10,000 a month, then you should be able to finance a small project, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 relatively soon. And that's only going to accelerate the value coming back.
I agree with you. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I think entrepreneurs, when they look at the slow start to a policy, is that they've started businesses in the past, that they know there's got to be some sort of outlay to kind of get this thing up and going. And most entrepreneurs, to be honest, don't bat an eye at the slow start. They know it's just part of the cost of doing business. And so it sounds like you had a similar mindset there. So thanks, Sahil.
You want to see the entire episode? Click here. If you want to learn how investors use infinite banking to increase their returns and lower their taxes, click here. If you want to see if infinite banking is for you and you have some questions, hop on a discovery call with us and one of our coaches. The link for that will be in the description.